Hi everyone, it's Julianne here for Honeybee Stamps and welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing you how I created this sweet summer card before I officially kick summer to the curb for all things fall. The products I'm going to be using today include the Over the Rainbow 6x6 paper pad, where I am going to be using this yellow striped pattern paper to create my background. I'm also going to be using the Scallop Circle Honey Cuts, the Freshly Picked Stamp Set, and finally, the Perfect Sentiment Stamp Set, along with both of their coordinating dies. So let's get started. I'm going to start out by showing you how I colored in both the lemon slices as well as the strawberries from the Freshly Picked Stamp Set. And of course, I am going to be doing some more Copic coloring this week. So I did stamp all of my images using some Memento Tuxedo black ink onto some Express It blending cardstock. And I'm going to start out by coloring in the skin of the lemon. And for that, I'm going to be using the colors Y13, Y08, and Y19. And I'm going to be creating a center highlight on that skin. And for that, I'm going to be just doing my shading on the edges of the slice, leaving the center with just my lightest shade of that Y13. Next, to color in the centers of the lemon, I'm going to be using the colors Y06, Y11, Y02, and finally Y00. And I'm going to be adding my darker shades around the edge closest to the skin for each of those pieces, and then I'm going to be fading that color towards the center using Y00. Next, to color in the strawberries, I'm going to be using the colors R22, R14, R27, and finally R39. And I'm going to start out by coloring in the entire strawberry with my lightest shade of R22. And then I'm going to be coming in with my medium and darker shades in order to add shading as well as depth in order to create a highlight on one of the sides of the strawberries. With the medium and darker shades, I'm going to be creating like a half circle, which is going to get smaller as I move on to my darker shades. And once I get to my darkest color, which is R39, I'm then going to come back in with my medium shades of R27 and R14 in order to blend everything in together before finally coming back in with my lightest color of that R22. Once I was finished coloring in everything, I used the coordinating dies in order to cut out the lemon slices as well as the strawberries. And now I'm going to start working on assembling my card together. I trimmed down that yellow striped pattern paper from the Over the Rainbow paper pad to A2 size, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I also used one of the circle scalloped honey cuts in order to die cut a piece of white cardstock so that I could have somewhere to stamp my sentiment. Once I have figured out where I want each one of my images to go, I'm then going to place my background into my MISTI, and I'm going to be stamping a sentiment from the Perfect Sentiment stamp set onto my circle die cut using some more of that Memento Tuxedo black ink. And I'm just going to stamp that sentiment a few times in order to make sure I get a nice solid black impression. And then once I have that all stamped out, I'm then going to start working on adhering everything together. Since I had a general idea of where I wanted everything to go, and I didn't want to mess up the placement of my images, I'm just going to be adding some washi tape on top of each one of those in order to keep them in place, so that way I can flip them over and add some adhesive behind them. Now, as you just saw, I did add the washi tape onto my arm first before adhering them down to my images, and that was just so I could take away some of the stick from the washi tape, so that way I knew it wouldn't tear any of my images after I had spent all that time coloring them in. Once I have the adhesive behind each one of those images, I'm then going to flip it back over, and I'm going to be adhering it to my circle die cut, making sure to adhere it around my sentiment, but making sure not to cover any of it up as well. Once I have those all adhered, I'm then going to start working on adhering my circle die cut down onto my pattern paper background. But for this, I'm going to be adhering it down using some foam adhesive, and that's going to give my card that little bit of added dimension since my card for today is more on the simple side. And you should all know by now that I am not one for simple cards. I love creating scenes and using multiple different stamp sets, but I really do love how this card turned out. Finally, to finish off my card for today, I am going to be adding a few of the boho confetti mix pieces throughout my background, and I'm going to be adhering each one of those down using some more of that liquid adhesive. And once I have that last one adhered, that's going to complete my bright and sweet summer card for today. I want to thank you all so much for stopping by and spending some time with me. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, as well as subscribe for even more card making ideas. If you're interested in any of the supplies I used today, they will all be listed and linked down below in the description box. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful day and happy crafting!